Hello and welcome to the Winging It Travel podcast with me, James Hammond. Personally, I have been to 50 countries. I've met so many people on my travels that I want to bring on this podcast and get their story on record. I have plenty of tips and stories to share with you as well. Are you a backpacker, or a traveller, or gap year student, or simply someone who loves to travel? Then this is the podcast for you. Throughout the weeks and months, you'll get many guests and solo episodes where I try to cover all range of subjects within travel. This is a casual and informative travel podcast to inspire you to travel in the future. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Thanks for listening and supporting this, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, James. Hey, just a quick one. I just want to say there are many ways to support this podcast. You can buy me a coffee and help support the podcast with $5, or you can go to my merch store with the affiliate link with TeePublic, where there's plenty of merch available to buy, such as t-shirts, jumpers, hoodies, and also some children's clothing. Thirdly, which is free, you can also rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, or Good Pods. Also, you can find me on social media on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Simply just search for Winging It Travel Podcast, and you'll find me displaying all my social media content for travelling, podcasts, and other stuff. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to this very special Friday episode, The Decision. And in this episode, I am going to tell you a very, very exciting and nerve-wracking decision that we've both made. The idea behind it, what's going to happen to the podcast, and extra details. So, what is the decision? The decision is that we have both decided, my partner and I, to leave our jobs and go travelling for 2023, going into 2024. And yes, no jobs, leaving the camper van here. For me, personally, it's going to be hopefully the start of a bit of a lifestyle change to be working and travelling on the road and not be location dependent. So this is the decision we've made. It's a big one. It's a tough one for many reasons. It's an exciting one. And obviously it's a bit nerve-wracking to go with it. So I've got some details about how and why we made the decision, podcasting on the road, and also some travel plans for you as well, what we've got in our minds. So as I said, we both handed a notice into our jobs this month, and we do leave Vancouver on the last day of January. And we discussed this in the Christmas break. I was in Greece, Emma was in the UK, and we just thought, do you know what, let's just do it. Let's go for it, because you can always put it off. And this is the one big tip, I guess a lot of these sort of full-time travel digital nomads kind of say is making the leap is the hardest part, because you're so used to having the norm day to day, and you get used to the money coming in consistently. You get used to your apartment, just the routine of local life. And sometimes you really got to make that push and trying to get out there and progress yourself, which can be a very difficult decision. So be it. Christmas, we're like, yeah, let's do it. So January, made the call, and now it's full steam ahead. And we'll be back in UK on the 1st of Feb. Why do we want to do this? Because for me personally, for both of us of course as well, I want to see a bit of the world. I've kind of been working and travelling the last 10 years, but I haven't actually travelled full time for a period of time, more than a month, for a long while now. And it's been eating away at me that I want to see bits of Europe, I want to see bits of Middle East, I want to see more of Asia, go back to South America, see Central America, all these things, Africa as well. You can't really do that full time with a full-time job in a location that you have to be in. You get your 4 or 5 weeks a year, you're kind of hands tied a little bit. Some people love that, some people love coming back, but I think for me it's time just to see how many places I can go to. We have a sort of a budget for the next year to a year and a half. We'll see how that goes. But I'm not averse to making a bit of money on the road as well. And the whole idea for me this year especially is trying to work out with the podcast too, also with all the stuff around that, remote working as well, how can I make a bit of a living on the road down the line so I can kind of continue that freedom of maybe, I'll go to Medellin for a month and just work there, or I'll go and check out Cape Town and just live there for a bit. All these sort of decisions are what I want in the future. So that's kind of the why. And also, it's worth noting, another huge factor, us going away, and for me personally, is I want to take this podcast on the road. It's gone really well the last 2 years, working in the top 5% this year of most listened podcasts and most shared. And I think, where can I progress it? And I do think this is the right move for the podcast. I love having guests on remotely. It's great. I've still got loads lined up for this month and next month, and it won't stop when I'm on the road travelling. But I want to take it also in a different direction, where I want to meet people on the road, try and arrange interviews in person, get them on record, let them tell us about the local place that they're in, be more location specific in terms of the podcast episode. And obviously I'll be there telling you what I've seen and what I've experienced. So it's going to be like a mix in the future of, you get your standard interview put on the Monday, that will stay the same. But throughout the week, you'll hear what we're up to in this certain location that we're in, tips and tricks, things to see, things to don't see, all this sort of stuff. I kind of feel like that'd be quite popular for the podcast based on the series done in Spain and series done in Greece. So I think it's a good way to go next for the podcast, and let's see where it goes. No idea how it's going to go logistically in terms of like getting people to come on the podcast. It's got to be obviously English speaking. We're going to countries that are not English speaking, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. Very excited for that. Tough decision leaving the job. Regular income. We have our little life here in North Vancouver/Vancouver. We're used to the coffee shops around here. Obviously, you see the people that you work with, that you interact with day to day. It's a huge decision in terms of that, but it's always going to be tough. The travelling part is easy. The tough decision is leaving people and kind of almost feeling like you kind of let them down a little bit by leaving. But you've got to get through that. And everyone is normally, and I must say, everyone that I've mentioned this to at work and other people have been hugely supportive of it. So that's been a great thing to see. I'll be looking this year to see how I can make a living within the travel industry, because that's the only thing I'm really genuinely interested in. Darts, football, of course, but realistically not. Travel is what I do, and I want to be in and around that community. I don't know what job that would be in the future. It could be a tour guide, tour leader, travel podcaster, travel documentary maker. I don't know, but I just kind of want to assess the options. What do I need to get? What do I need to qualify for? Can I go down certain roads in the industry and just see where it can take me? And I think having a portfolio of 3 or 4 years of podcasting as a travel podcaster and also traveling itself, I'm optimistic that there'll be something at the end of the road if I keep working hard at it. So that's where I'm thinking about going. And I do have this secret passion, secret idea, secret goal internally of at least going to travel towards 100 countries. That kind of is in the back of my mind. I'm at 52 at the minute. I reckon 100 could be doable. It kind of depends how I can make some more money, how I can keep that travel thing going. But I think that's a good number to hit for me, and I'd be pretty pleased with myself with that. That'd be a huge achievement if I can get towards that. But obviously long-term travel and remote work is the way to go. Again, got to figure that out. Also personally, for us, our ages, not getting any younger. We're early to mid-30s now. It's a really good time to go. And we've got the money, etc. We've got the budget. So I think in terms of timing, it couldn't be more perfect. And I just want to finish off saying thanks to everyone in Vancouver for making our lives pretty cool here. We've enjoyed it. It's never say never. We might come back. We don't know. That depends on the road trip in the summer when we drive across with our camper van from here to the Maritimes. I'll come to the details of plans in a bit, but that is one plan definitely we're doing, because we're leaving our camper van here in North Vancouver, picking it up in sort of June, July, service it, and get on the road in the summer in Canada. Can't wait for that portion of the trip. We're going to talk a little bit now about the podcast on the road and extra things come along with it. As I said before, normal podcasts will carry on in terms of one guest episode a week, and I'll be doing more of a travel diary type thing of where we are in terms of more details. I'm also going to extend that second section to YouTube. I really want to get into video creation. I find it quite interesting. I do like to put a bit of time and effort into that. And I've got my Greece series. I haven't started yet. I've got it lined up just to get it all downloaded and put it all together. So I want to get that as a routine as much as the podcast, but I do realise that's going to be much more work. So that's going to be part of the learning process of how I can do that alongside the audio podcast. And they will be slightly different. I want them to offer different things. So you can go and follow me on Winging It Travel Podcast on YouTube to get a head start on it. I'll be doing some promo this month about when my launch day is. sometime mid-February. And yeah, let's see how both of those go. I also want to get used to in-person interviews. Now, different techniques, it's a different style, different logistics to think about. Coffee on the go, it's got to be trendy, of course, and have a nice casual chat about where we are, and hopefully it's local to tell us more about the place. So that's kind of like a goal of mine for this year, is to do more of those in-person interviews. Now, I've got a new website coming up. It's currently been built. I mentioned that last week, I think, and that's going to be quite key to especially making a bit of money on the road. You know, the whole SEO, blogging type stuff. I've got loads of affiliate links with my podcast so far. So I'm going to get that website up and running, maintaining it, and trying to work with that. We're providing you with a better place to go for extra stuff, as well as the podcast, but also get maybe into some writing. I think I know I'm not brilliant at it. I know I don't normally keep it up, but maybe I can change my mindset on that. That's a good goal of mine, because I do like kind of not writing a too long a piece for you to read. I'd like to make it a bit more shorter and interesting, but that could be key for the website going forward. All this stuff mentioned is me clawing back some income for the podcast, and there'll be other avenues such as the Buy Me a Coffee, the merchandise, which you can buy as well. And I'm thinking about Patreon again, maybe getting that going, but I realised last year that's quite hard to get people to really commit to that. You've really got to offer something different. And if I'm doing YouTube, is that going to offer something different to that and the audio podcasts in Patreon? I haven't really figured that out. And also, I'm going to be learning a lot this year, logistics-wise, about how to get logistics sorted, sounds, document everything, using my digital travel planner, which you can buy on Etsy as well. There's no way to support the podcast. And it all leads kind of like meeting local people in person. And I want to hear their story, get it on record, and get it on the podcast for you to listen to. I don't think you can beat real, like, live local stories there and then. That's the aim. Got to do a bit of work on that, try and find some people, reach out on social media, etc., or even people there when we're travelling, but also being a bit ruthless and asking, hey, do you want to come on, chat about it? Free walking tours are a great way to do that as well. And the ultimate goal of all that is just to progress and develop the podcast as a whole for you guys, and try and make it a much better bit of content for you. So, to the juicy bit, what is the travel plans and the rough dates? We've not planned too much, but I will say that we've got an Interrail pass for a month that we need to use by mid-April, May. So we will be doing that first, and that'll be probably about 5 weeks in Europe. And we're going to kick off the whole trip on February the 20th. And Paris is the first stop, because that is 2 hours from London, and that will activate our Interrail pass. Been to Paris before, both been. Looking forward to going back to do a bit more trendier stuff this time, because last time I went, it was during the Euros, so it's a bit more football orientated. So it'd be great to go there as a normal person at a normal time. So as I said, 5 weeks will be through Europe. That'll kind of be Central and bits of Eastern Europe, working our way towards Turkey. Don't know specifics, but it's going to be countries like Switzerland, Austria, Luxembourg, Slovenia, maybe Croatia, Bulgaria as well, and then into Turkey. That's a rough plan. No set dates on that. But we'll see as we go, because we're winging it as we go along. I do want to get to Cyprus. In that part of the world, Turkey, Middle East, which is next after Europe, I mean, they're 40, 50-minute flights across the water. So I want to go and see Cyprus. It's kind of been always somewhere I want to go. And then after that, it will be Middle East until May time, sometime in May. Middle East is going to consist of, we think, definitely Jordan, Oman, UAE, Israel, Palestine, and I might be going to Lebanon. I'm still working out that at the minute. Then we're going to go back to Vancouver, pick up the camper van, get it serviced, and do a bit of a van life summer in the Northern Hemisphere across Canada, and hopefully, if it survives, down through the US, round in a loop, back to Vancouver, and then sell it later in the year. Later in the year, when we do sell it, no idea what date that'll be. That towards end of the year, Christmas and New Year's, we don't know what that'll be. And then whatever we decide, next will be South and Central America. At the top of my head, not planning, but things I would really like to see, especially in the first part of the trip up until the end of the year. And we have actually booked one thing, the Bernina Express, which is the train that goes through the Alps. We've actually booked that for Emma's birthday on March the 2nd, so I'm looking forward to that. I want to go see Lake Bled. I want to see Vienna as a city, Cappadocia, of course, and Turkey, do the hot air balloon thing. Really can't wait to get stuck into wild camping in Oman. Just a little caveat on that. Oman, super expensive. But what people do is while camping anywhere in Oman, a car out and go get some tenting gear. And obviously go and stay in some fairly safe spots, but go and see the country by road. So that'd be pretty cool. Again, Jordan, that'd be road tripping around. I want to stay with some Bedouin people in a desert. Walking, trekking the pool is back on our minds. That could be going back there as well. The Maritimes in the east of Canada. Those islands, love to get stuck into them, and then down into New England. That's going to be a pretty cool little trip and a dream of ours to go and see, especially in the summer. Can't wait. I've got a thing for Texas, so hopefully we'll get round to that. Yellowstone, Yosemite, they're the classic. Go and see some proper blues music in the south. Maybe Nashville, something like that. Possibly Hawaii, if we can get across there. For me, go back to Hawaii. That's a bit of a dream of ours, actually, back to Hawaii. That'd be pretty cool. Sri Lanka's always been on the list. Maybe even Morocco. And just kind of also seeing all the people that I've met on the podcast, whatever country they're in. A lot of American podcasters that I've met that have come on, so I'm looking forward to going and see those guys on the road trip, and anyone that I've met on the previous travels as well. That'd be quite cool to go and catch up. So all that is roughly the plan. Super exciting, but not planning too much. That's the key, and we'll just go with the flow day to day. And you can obviously follow me on Instagram, TikTok or YouTube, same name, Winging It Travel Podcast, where there'll probably be daily updates and also weekly episodes with what we're up to. And of course there'll be podcast updates if I've got to delay it because I've got no Wi-Fi, whatever the reason is. So make sure you follow me on there. You can also support the podcast that I mentioned before, but keep spreading the word. It's going to be a super fun trip. I think audio podcasting whilst travelling on the road for a period of time is not something I've seen a lot. A lot of people do, obviously, YouTube or just like Reels and TikTok and Instagram. But I think audio's got a certain charm to it. It's going to be short form, especially the diary parts. And it's going to be for people who maybe not on social media or don't follow me or just want to hear what it's like and maybe imagine that place and hopefully inspire them to go and see it. So I'm really excited about seeing how that goes. And I'm really looking forward to laying it all out there, really, like the good and the bad. I'm sure there's going to be ups and downs. Of course, any tips or anyone who wants to go on the podcast in a certain area of the world that we're in, please let me know. You can also contact me by email at jameshammondtravel@gmail.com. So finally, we're wrapping up here in Vancouver, and then we're going to see friends and family in the UK, catching up 2 or 3 weeks before heading off February 20th to Paris. Fun little thing. I've actually arranged to go with my friend Adam Bamford, who's been on the first ever guest podcast on this podcast last year. Me and him are going to do a little Micronations tour in Europe. So we're going to go to Monaco, Vatican City, San Marino and Rome for a week. So that's my pre-travels holiday. Settle in, chill out before we get stuck in on the road. So that's coming in February, and there'll be a podcast series and a YouTube series on that. So looking forward to that. So overall, loads of content coming your way. Who knows where I'll be, what I'll be doing, who I'll meet, ups and downs, best dishes, food poisoning, trendy coffees, stressful buses, who knows. It's going to be an exciting period of time. Super excited to make the leap. Super nervous, but I can't wait to be podcasting full time without getting paid and sharing with you our travels in 2023. All out there now, super excited. Can't wait to get going now. Going to wrap stuff up here, get to London, see friends and family, get on the road on February 20th, get some content out there, do more podcasting, do more meeting people, all this sort of stuff. Super exciting. Can't wait for it. So get following, keep updated. And if you want to get in contact me with any tips and tricks. And I look forward to hearing your reactions to the podcast and also just sharing what we're up to. And finally, for once, I get to document my travels, which I've never done before. So I can at least look back and see, that day we're in that place doing that thing. That's pretty cool and exciting. Back on Monday with a guest episode. Angela's coming on, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you.